In 1970, the Vietnam War raged on, covering this ancient land in smoke and fire. Villages were destroyed and countless lives were lost. The Viet Cong dug the Cu Chi tunnels, a secret weapon hidden deep beneath the jungles of Vietnam. These complex tunnel networks stretched into the darkness, unreachable by their enemies. The tunnels were not only shelters and supply routes, but also a battlefield underground, used for ambushing and confusing the enemy. Many American soldiers went missing in these tunnels and never returned. This mysterious disappearance made the tunnels known among the soldiers as Hell Underground. An American squad was sent to the Cu Chi tunnels with the mission of clearing out enemy forces and making sure the area was no longer a threat to the Allies. The team had 7 men, including the experienced Sergeant Johnson and his deputy Mike. The youngest of the team was Billy, a new recruit whose eyes still showed signs of fear, clearly not yet used to the harsh realities of war. The tunnel entrance lay deep in the jungle, next to the roots of a large tree, a wooden door hidden under the bushes, leading to the unknown darkness below. Johnson stood at the tunnel entrance, taking a deep breath. The air was filled with the smell of rotting leaves and damp soil, making his chest feel heavy. The entrance was narrow, allowing only one person through at a time, and they had to crouch to get in. Johnson signaled to his team to get ready. Billy gripped his rifle tightly, trying to steady his breathing. Once inside, the world became narrow and suffocating. The walls were made of dirt and stone, and the ceiling was so low that they could barely keep their heads up. It was pitch black, and they relied solely on their helmet lights, casting twisted shadows on the damp walls. Johnson led the way, moving carefully to make sure there were no mines or traps hidden in the ground. As they moved deeper into the tunnel, the air grew thin, making it harder to breathe. Billy felt a growing pressure on his chest, each step feeling like a descent further into hell. Mike broke the silence with a low mutter. "This place feels like a damn grave." "Quiet," Johnson turned and warned Mike, but there was a hint of unease in his eyes too. The entire tunnel felt strange, as if the walls were slowly closing in on them. Time became meaningless in this darkness. Only the dim beam of their flashlights lit the way. After moving deeper through a corner of the tunnel, Billy suddenly stopped, his face pale, eyes fixed straight ahead. Johnson noticed his reaction and asked softly, "What is it, Billy?" Billy's voice trembled. I hear someone crying, very softly, like a child's voice." The team members looked at each other. There were only 7 of them in the tunnel. How could there be a child? Johnson frowned and motioned for them to keep moving. But as they resumed, they all heard it. A faint, muffled crying coming from deep within the tunnel. The crying echoed in the narrow space, sounding eerily clear, as if it came from all directions. Billy's hands began to shake, the barrel of his rifle quivering. Mike whispered, "Something's not right. This isn't right at all." As they pressed forward, the crying gradually turned into whispers, like someone softly talking beside their ears. But the words were unclear, like murmurings in the wind. Suddenly, Billy froze, pointing ahead, his voice shaking. That's my brother." The others followed his gaze and saw a shadow in the distance. It was a young boy, wearing a torn U.S. military uniform, his face pale, eyes empty. A chill ran down Johnson's spine. He knew that Billy's brother had gone missing during an operation a few months ago. Billy's eyes filled with tears and he tried to run towards the figure, but Johnson grabbed him. "Calm down, it's not real." Johnson's voice echoed through the tunnel, but Billy seemed unable to hear him. He broke free from Johnson's grip, chasing the figure, disappearing into the darkness. The rest of the team moved on, but the atmosphere grew more tense. Fear was written on each of their faces. The crying and whispers never stopped, as if countless voices were calling out from every corner of the tunnel. Mike began to feel dizzy, seeing countless eyes staring at him from the walls. He kept muttering, "We need to get out. We need to get out of here." Not long after, Mike vanished around a corner, swallowed by the darkness. The remaining team members looked at each other, fear spreading through them. Johnson realized they had to get out immediately, but it was as if the exit had been hidden by some unseen force. No matter how they moved, they always seemed to end up in the same place. Johnson was left alone, His flashlight's battery was dying, the light flickering weakly, and the darkness around him seemed almost alive, closing in. The whispers grew clearer, as if blaming him, speaking of endless pain and despair. He saw a shadow coming towards him. It was Billy. Billy's face had a strange calmness, his lips moving soundlessly. Johnson fought his fear, stepping back, but his back was against the cold earthen wall. There was nowhere to go. Billy reached out, pointing deeper into the tunnel. Suddenly, Johnson understood the voices, the spirits. They were searching for a way out, trapped endlessly in these tunnels. Johnson closed his eyes, feeling tears roll down his cheeks. He knew he wouldn't be able to leave either. Days later, another American squad found the tunnel entrance, but deep inside they only found scattered gear and broken helmets, as if the team had never existed. The air in the tunnel remained damp and cold, filled with untold secrets. They sealed the entrance, but the soldiers who entered never returned. Some say that, on quiet nights, if you stand near the entrance, you can still hear whispers and crying from beneath the ground, the voices of those lost souls, forever searching for a way home. In the jungles of Vietnam, the complex tunnel network seemed like an entrance to hell. The souls trapped within carried their unresolved grievances, forever wandering in the darkness. Johnson and his team became part of this underground maze, their story just another forgotten chapter in the shadows of war. War took not only lives but also souls. Those souls cried silently in the dark, reminding people of the endless pain and cruelty of war.